From Washington, D.C. to the heart of America, welcome to Mark Alford's America. I'm freshman congressman from Missouri, Mark Alford, and I believe in America. I believe in you, and most importantly, I believe that our greatest days are still ahead. You know, each week we take you behind the scenes to share the stories, news, legislation, and to meet the great people who are helping shape our great nation. And today we're talking with a friend of mine from Houston, Texas, Congressman Wesley Hunt. Proudly representing Texas's 38th District, Congressman Hunt was born and reared in a military family in Houston. He got his commission in the U.S. Army and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in leadership. After West Point, he spent 8 years in the Army as an aviation branch officer and AH-62D Apache longbow helicopter pilot. We'll talk about that a little bit. When he completed his military service and honorable discharge as a captain, Congressman Hunt earned his MBA, MPA, and MILR at Cornell University. Right now, he's on the Judiciary Small Business Committee with me. He's also on Natural Resources Committee. Please welcome to our office here at 1516 Longworth on the 5th floor, Congressman Wesley Hunt. Wes, good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well. I had a pretty long walk to get here. So
we're next door neighbors. How are you liking your office over there?
I love it. I love being over here. I don't see us moving anytime soon.
Yeah.
So we'll take it. If we're a freshman, 5th floor Longworth, I think we'll be just fine.
I like the 5th floor. We've got DVO, Derek Van Norden, down here.
Oh, yeah, we know.
Yeah, he's kind of the loud guy. This is almost...
Everyone knows.
We're working hard. I don't want to give any illusions that we're not, but it's kind of like the camaraderie when you first move into college.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have our families with us. We're learning this together, these new experiences, and kind of leaning on each other.
Yeah, but DVO is a Navy SEAL. And so as an Army guy, as an Apache pilot too, far more skilled, intelligent, better looking. And, Navy guys, they're just kind of soft, even the SEALs. So that's just the camaraderie.
I know, you guys.
That's the camaraderie that you're referring to?
Yeah.
If he were sitting right here, he would not agree.
He would not. In fact, you should hear what he said about you when I interviewed. He was our first guest on Mark Alford's America. Why did you decide to run for Congress?
Service is really important to me, and it's really important to my family. So I read my bio, but most importantly, there's 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family. My dad's a retired lieutenant colonel. My sister's a West Point grad. She did 23 years active duty, military intelligence officer. I went to West Point as well, second Apache pilot, and my brother is also a West Point graduate, and he cross-commissioned into the Navy. So all of us served. All of us went to West Point at one point in 2006. We were all stationed in the Middle East at the same time. I was flying combat air missions in Baghdad in an Apache. My sister was in the Green Zone doing intel. My brother was in the Arabian Gulf for 2 months at the exact same time. So whenever I get asked this question as to why am I doing this right now, this is the next deployment. This is the next phase of service. And when you grow up in a house like that, it's a very conservative home that we grew up in. And my dad always taught us the importance of making sure that you defend the freedoms for the future for your own children, because we are always one generation away from losing it. Consequently, it's your duty and your responsibility to continue to find ways to serve this great country, and this is my way of doing just that.
I did not serve in the military. My brother served in the Air Force Reserves, a lieutenant colonel. I, too, wanted to do something, and I in no way compare military service, putting your life on the line, to what we're doing here in Congress. But from your perspective, how does service in the military contrast with service in the U.S. House of Representatives?
Oh, it's way easier. I mean, don't shortchange yourself on that one. This is like a full combat zone we're living in right now, given the last few weeks. No, it's a different mindset, but it's all in the greater good of the country. Both are. And so, we're in Baghdad flying combat air missions in an Apache. You're worried about finding the bad guys and making sure the bad guys go away. And I don't know if you know about an Apache. The attack helicopter has Hellfire, 33 millimeter chain gun, and 2.75 millimeter rockets, and you lay waste to bad people, and you make sure that the guys on the ground get home safely. Well, that's the mentality of an Apache driver in a combat zone. The mentality here is not that. The mentality here is, what can we do to work across a large swath of different ideals and different people, and what can we do to get the best outcomes and the best laws for our country? Two completely different ideals. However, the end state is still working for the betterment for the country as a whole. And so when I say this is a combat mission or this is my next deployment, it certainly is a far different deployment, but I still have the same mindset.
I think one of the things we have in common, when I talk with the freshman members, and we did this during orientation, I'm like, why did you decide to run? We each felt like whatever we were involved in, I was in television, Monica de la Cruz had a multi-million-dollar State Farm business she gave up. We've all given up something. I know you have sacrificed because this wasn't your first run for this office. I want to talk about that in a little bit. But we've all sacrificed something because we saw an existential threat to our country, especially what's being perpetrated now by this current administration. The time is now to take a stand no matter what you're doing.
Right. And I have 3 kids at home. I have 3 little four
and a
and a half
baby.
year old, 4.5-year-old. Olivia, she turned 3 a couple of days ago. That's the one that belongs on a terrorist watch list. She gives us a run for our money. See, I say it every time, but she's something else. And little Will, and Will's 9 months old next week.
Yeah.
And so for us, my sacrifice is being up here and not being with them, it can be rough at times, but also am constantly reminded as to why we're up here and why I'm doing this. We're doing this for them. So, even though I've left them right now every single week, and it's always tough to leave that little boy at home, I also know that I'm trying to secure a better future for him. And that kind of goes back to the mantra that my family raised us on. That's fighting for the next generation. And that means sacrificing certain things. Nothing in life is free. Nothing in this country is free. Our freedom is paid for and codified in blood. I lost 14 of my West Point classmates in the global war on terror, 14. I mention them and think of them every single day. So it's incumbent upon us to not complain or worry about how tough it is. We have to make sure that we make it worth it and we earn every single day because they died for it and they can no longer serve for themselves. And that's exactly why we are here. And keep in mind right now, there are my brothers and sisters right now that are deployed all over the world. And they are 24, 48 hours away from even being home. I am always a 3-hour flight away from my house at any given time. I don't complain very much about traveling. I don't complain very much about being away from home because I've been away from home for years at a time. This is our opportunity to save our country from the brink. And what we are doing this week and what's going to happen this week, I think is part of the stances that we have to make in order to save our financial future. If brave patriots like us aren't here right now and we leave, especially the radical left and these crazy people, to their own devices, we would spend ourselves into an oblivion in the next 5 years and there'd be no country left. So I view this as our last stand. I'm a Texas guy too, so the Alamo is something that's very near and dear to my heart. This is our Alamo.
Drawing the line in the sand.
This is it.
Colonel William Barrett Travis.
You got it.
I'm a native Texan, by the way.
You told me.
Yeah. 6th generation. I represent Missouri. I've been there for 25 years, so that is my home. But I think we have this Texas connection. I grew up in Baytown on the other side of the Houston Ship Channel across the bay from the San Jacinto Monument.
And I got married in Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right. You did.
I got married in Union Station, Kansas City, Missouri.
And you got your picture taken up there by the World War
I monument. It's beautiful. He was there. He was in my wedding.
Your communications director.
That's right.
That's right.
And one of my best friends.
When you look at what's going on now, having been in the military and following a chain of command and having orders and you get stuff done, does it frustrate you? I kind of liken it to a race car driver driving on the interstate after coming off a track doing 200 miles an hour. Does it frustrate you being in the setting we are where you're not able really to move forward as you would like to?
No, not at all.
How?
Because this is all about the greater fight. And I'm going to give you an example. You have to chip away at this, basically one vote at a time. And we're a Republican, so there's only one way to eat elephant. And that's one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And the way I view this, especially, for example, the gridlock that we're going to see this week, the CR that I'm told is going to happen here on Friday, that I'm a no on. And people say, well, why would you do that? Or why are you a no on? I'm setting us up for next year. We were not told the truth as to how we're going to operate here in the future. If we don't stop something right now, then business as usual for the past 30 years, that coincidentally, we're $33 trillion in debt
and growing.
Business as usual will continue if we don't stop this right now. And so now we are setting the table, not for right now, but for next year. And whoever our speaker is next year, we'll know going into this, we better start bringing single appropriations bills to the floor very early, or we're going to be right here on September the 30th. September the 30th is not a floating holiday. We know it's coming. If we stick to our guns right now, it's going to make it easier for us next year. I got that from being in the military. You spend 4 years at West Point getting your butt kicked as a plebe, as a sophomore, and finally you get to be a junior, you get to be a leader to a certain extent, then you become a first team, then you're in charge. But you had to eat crap for 3 years prior to that in order to be able to get to that point. That's exactly what this is about.
Hey, stay with us. We're having a fascinating conversation with Wesley Hunt, a friend of mine, congressman from Texas. Mark Alford's America continues after this. Welcome back to Mark Alford's America, where we give you a behind-the-scenes look each and every week at Washington, let you meet some of the people helping shape our nation, and Congressman Wesley Hunt of Texas is back in our office here on the 5th floor. My neighbor, my friend, you are the sharpest dressed member of Congress.
You know, my mom says, just don't embarrass me.
No, you.
So every day I get up in the morning, I look out, am I going to embarrass my mom or not? So we try. We try.
Well, very, very buttoned up, very kind of the opposite of Senator Fetterman.
Like,
can you imagine what knucklehead wears sweats?
This guy.
I mean,
it's indicative, and it's indicative of the anemic behavior of the left, that they're going to allow their standards to be that laxed to allow a grown man to be in the halls of Congress in his PJs. I think it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Put a suit and tie on. You represent America.
At the State of the Union, he did come with a coat and tie. I'm sure that
he owns something.
The Sergeant at Arms would not let a sitting member of the Senate in our body, in our chamber, dress like a slob.
No.
All right, let's talk about your committees, because you're on 3 very important ones. We are on small business together. I did not anticipate being on small business. I wanted to be on armed services and ag. This was kind of thrown my way. I was asked politely by leadership to be on small business, but I'm so glad that I am, because we are touching real people with real problems with these nut jobs, I think, in the Small Business Administration, who want to stand in the way and aren't taking a serious look at the fraud that has gone on with the loan programs and during COVID. So how do you like small business?
I think it's great. And I think that's actually one of the biggest selling points when I get to go back to my district.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the majority of the people in the district, either you work for a big company or work for a small business, and it's just that binary, or you're a small business owner. And so whenever they get to see that I'm a small business, and they talk about, their SBA loan issues, and really what people are getting crushed with, and that's taxes and inflation. These are the kind of issues that we get to address on our committee. It's very good.
You're also on natural resources. Bruce Westerman chairs that from Arkansas.
Good man.
A great member. You guys today were talking about how, because Joe Biden has allowed 7 million illegal aliens into our country, many of them have gone to all parts of the country now, and there's no place to live. Have you ever stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City?
I have.
We used to stay there. I've got pictures of it.
Beautiful hotel.
It used to be. It was like going back in time, and now it's filled with illegal aliens who have trashed the place, and there is no remedy in sight for what's going on unless we secure the border. And now they want to open the national parks to illegal aliens to camp out.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that?
They want to open the national parks for illegal aliens to hang out, and they want to fast track this while they slow track our oil and gas leases that we need to provide energy for Americans and these same illegal immigrants that we have allowed to our country to the tune of 7 million. And I'm from Texas, and so we are on the brunt of this. And so our governor was the guy that was putting some of these aliens on planes and flying them to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then they were saying, oh, no mas, we don't want any more. And now you're looking at the mayor of New York that's now denouncing his own Democrat policies. It's no longer a sanctuary city because this is not sustainable for them to live. Governor Hochul, now all of a sudden, she sounds like somebody that's in a complete state of loss, because she thought that everybody could just come to New York and give me your tired and give me your poor and all that good stuff in Ellis Island. And she's realizing that this is not a sustainable model at all, and we cannot afford it. I always talk about money. Money is really important to me. So we bring in roughly $5 trillion every year from the hardworking American taxpayer. and we are spending $7 trillion a year, and then we're allowing 7 million people enter our country illegally. This is completely unaffordable. We cannot afford to continue to do this. The American taxpayer cannot continue to take on the brunt of all of these people living in our country, sneaking into our country. I'm a combat veteran, lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, deployed to Iraq. No country in the world behaves this way.
Right.
So why are we? I am not xenophobic. I'm not racist. I've been black my entire life. I can assure you I have no issues with people of color. What I care most about is getting our country back and having a sovereign border, a border that I risk my life to defend.
So Obama somewhat secured the border. Trump was on mission to do
He was a
that.
deporter in chief. Obama deported more people
Exactly.
than President Trump did.
So why is this president welcoming illegal aliens in to put stress on our economy and our culture?
Well, you say this president, and I'm convinced that this president doesn't know where he is.
Okay.
So I am not convinced he has any idea what's going on. What I am convinced about is that there is a Marxist socialist agenda against this country that's trying to destroy us from within. If you can divide us based on racial lines, based on blaming people, calling people xenophobic and racist, on
It's a whole solid
ideology.
playbook.
That's exactly correct. Exactly correct. I think they have succumbed to the powers that be, whomever they are, that are trying to erode this country from within with socialist and Marxist behavior, and our current president is too weak to stop it.
That's scary.
Terrifying.
That's why we're here, though.
Terrifying. That's exactly why we're here. That's exactly why I'm so passionate about this. 14 months is right around the corner. We have got to win this in 14 months. We have got to have a Republican president in 14 months. I don't care who it is.
I
want Trump.
You're on
big time.
You're on judiciary. I'm not, but I follow what's been going on. Look, I was screaming from the top of my lungs at the TV station that I worked at, why are we not doing the story on Bobolinsky back in 21, the computer, Hunter Biden's laptop, when it was projected as Russian disinformation for that race. It turned out that what was on that laptop was Hunter Biden, and it has now, over these 3 years, degraded into, I think, the president of the United States being the most compromised president we have ever had in U.S. history.
That, combined with this two-tier justice system that we have seen, is absolutely terrifying. The Biden crime family is something that it's not Republican talking points. It's not QAnon conspiracy. It's very real, and we actually have the receipts.
Well, the left will say, though, wait a minute. You don't have anything that directly links the then vice president to whatever malfeasance his son was up to. The $20 million plus it's come in from Ukraine, Romania, Russia, and China, most, I think, fearsome of all those. You don't have anything that directly linked. Are we going to have a direct link to President Biden?
So we're born at night. We were not born last night. Hunter Biden's a crackhead. And if you're telling me that this guy has the acumen to sit on an oil and gas or energy board that's a national company from the Ukraine, of all places, that we have now given $113 billion to, miraculously, and if he has the acumen, the capability to sit on that board, if his father were not the vice president and current president of the United States, then that's insulting to our intelligence. It's insulting to the intelligence of the American people. And I always point out, I can only imagine if this were Donald Trump Jr., what would be happening then if that were the case. I don't care how you feel about him. I mean, this is ridiculous. And if our former president, the way he's even being treated right now, behaved in any manner like this, the left would have lost their minds. So no, whatever link you think we have to find, this direct link that shows the money being transferred to the account. Hunter Biden at one point was paying $50,000 a month to live in his dad's house.
Right.
Now, is that illegal? Probably not. I understand that. Is that egregious? $50,000 worth of rent a month? Where'd the money come from? Why are you paying to your dad? Yeah, that's it. Like, we're not that stupid.
Hey, Wesley, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate your friendship, your leadership, and your passion for America, your district, and this body, which I'm seeing more and more as a very special thing in America.
Thank you for being in the fight with me. I really, really appreciate it. It's an honor to serve with you, sir.
Hey, folks listening, thank you for joining us this week for Mark Alford's America. We'll talk again next week. It's always a pleasure to come into your home or your car where you're listening to us. Until then, folks, remember that I believe in you. I believe that our best days are still ahead of us. We live in the greatest nation known to man. I believe in America. Until next week, take care. God bless. Love you guys. Bye.